Hello everyone, I'm Aries Rainy Days and welcome to the Rainy Day Mindscape. For those that are new here, this is my little spot of the internet where I talk about my art. This can be anything from my OCs and canon muses to personal headcanons and lore that I have about the fandoms I'm in. If you need a break from the drama, let the Mindscape be your safe space. With all of that being said, it's time to just sit back, relax, grab a few snacks, and join me for another rainy day. The subject of today's speed paint is probably going to be the most meta thing that I have ever made. Something that I've been dying to do for months now was make my own little overlay that just sits in the corner of my videos to give it a bit more of a distinct flair beyond the robot voice and the vague Undertale theme that persists throughout my channel. The big reason why I never sat down and actually committed to animating anything like this before was because animation takes forever to pull off. Which, honestly, I would have been more than happy to show off the process of making the first asset if my screen recorder hadn't eaten a solid 3/4 of the frames. So instead, we'll just have to settle for the footage I recorded in making the new disclaimer overlay, which will pop up from time to time in cases where I'm using older footage, or wherever I think it's appropriate. Now here's a fun little fact for non-artists about animation. In programs like Krita or Photoshop, you have to animate everything frame by frame. You don't have any special tools like tweens, nor do you have the ability to make puppets to move them across the screen. Every little detail that you want in your animation you have to modify frame by frame. Be it colors, lines, shading. Basically, if you want it to move, you have to change each individual frame, which makes animation very rewarding. At least in my opinion. I'm not sure how many other illustrators like me would feel the same. Now, as fun and rewarding as animation can be when you really sink your teeth into it, creating an animation is an incredibly tedious process, and honestly, after doing it 3 times, I have nothing but respect for animators who can actually sit down and make these elaborate pieces of art. Me personally, I don't really have the patience to sit down and work on anything long term when it comes to animation, so I'll happily stick to my illustrations. Which actually begs the question, what have I been up to these past few months? Why haven't I uploaded since January? Well, the short answer is that I've been busy just living my life. The purpose of this channel was, and frankly still is, a hobby. And if I don't really have the time to bury myself in my hobbies, whether it's because of work or my mental health being in the shitter, I usually just let things fall to the wayside until I find the motivation to pick up where I leave off. This, coupled with the fact that my tech tends to hiccup on me whenever I decide to sit down and record footage for my videos, kind of killed most of my motivation that I had for maintaining any semblance of a regular schedule like I'd planned. If you don't believe me, just look at the screen for a second. My old screen recorder decided to just spontaneously eat half of the frames with 0 warning and for 0 reason. This pretty much left the original footage I had in mind for my comeback video nearly unusable. And the kicker is, the same thing happened with some of my older footage too for videos that I've yet to release. Thankfully, I have found a better screen recorder, so this shouldn't be an issue for any future videos that I record on my PC. Yippee! Which, that actually reminds me. If you haven't noticed already, I actually draw on more than just my computer now. Ignoring the fact that I actually have a better PC now, I also own a tablet, which in essence is its own mini computer. So on top of being able to draw whenever and wherever I want, I can also record footage from my tablet to use in my videos. Hell, you can actually see the overlay I made specifically for videos made on my tablet sitting in the corner of this video. It's honestly kind of funny how everything circles back in on itself, huh? Now, unfortunately, I don't have any footage of me working on the second overlay. A lot of it would have just been me splitting apart individual frames just to replace the drawing of my big-ass Helion tablet with a drawing of my Lenovo tablet, as well as moving the eyes and recoloring every individual frame. So I honestly would have been retreading old water. though seeing how the original footage actually turned out, I kind of wish that I had, if only to provide more fluid footage over the parts of the animation process that got butchered in the original recording. Even though I recorded the entire drawing process while making my disclaimer, I would have loved to show off the original process like I'd originally intended for this video. That all being said, it doesn't exactly stop me from actually digging into the meat and potatoes of my drawing process, so here goes! One thing you'll probably notice between this video and some of my older ones is that my persona doesn't have as much detail compared to how I normally draw them. So, what gives? Well, it more or less boils down to the fact that I wanted these overlays to stand the test of time whenever I use them in my videos. As an artist, I'm always growing and refining my techniques, which can lead to works that I made 5-6 months ago look like absolute dog water compared to whatever I make at present. By drawing my assets in a more chibi style, I won't have to worry about redrawing and reanimating them every couple of months if there's a shift in my main style. Plus, animation is hard. I am by no means a professional animator, and I'm sure that it shows with how choppy everything looks throughout my process. While I know that I could pick up some solid tricks if I ever wanted to pursue this as a branch off of my hobby, I'd honestly rather stick to my illustrations. As it stands now, though, I'm proud of what I made. Despite its flaws, it's something that I made by hand and I can be proud of. And that's what this channel is really about, you know? So, what happens now? What's the future of the Rainy Day Mindscape? Honestly, there won't be much changing aside from dips in video quality as I finally start working through my backlog of video footage. Oh, and the robot voice will be a hell of a lot more consistent. I know, it's cringe to modify my voice like this, but the ability to mask my voice like this brings me a lot of comfort as a mask-aligned non-binary person. Aside from that, I'm still staying the hell away from commentary drama, as I'm still not equipped to handle topics like that with the care they desperately need. So, that's all I really have to say on the matter. With all of that being said, I think it's time for me to wrap things up for now. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to me ramble like the passionate little art dummy that I am. Now that I have these assets in my pocket, I should be able to ramp up production throughout 2026, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. I hope your pillows are pleasantly chilled and that I get to see you all on another rainy day. Bye-bye.